everyone, Dan here at the Rhode Island Brentwood Metro Station here in Washington, D.C. This is one of my favorite parts of D.C. up in Northeast. We're looking at an island platform elevated station. It runs red line only. Even though it's right next to MARC, there's no transfer to MARC, which makes sense. This isn't a very busy area. And as I'm sure you could see from the arrival video, this is a very elevated station. We're pretty high up. They got this nice long pedestrian bridge crossing the CSX trackage. I think that one is the MARC Brunswick line. I'm not sure what the actual name of the rail line is. Sorry for any of the true train nerds out there. First is the sheer amount of high-density residential in this area. I think is like legitimately very impressive, especially for an area that's clearly been redeveloped. I don't know how this area used to look. I'm hoping there wasn't a bunch of displacement, but knowing it's part of DC, there probably was. The station literally just goes over Rhode Island Avenue, like I'm on a bridge right now. Some people I've heard say that this platform tends to vibrate when a train comes in. I haven't felt that yet, but I guess we'll see once the next train shows up, which I think is going to be here in several minutes. Alright, so there's been 4 trains that have passed me by and I've not felt the platform shaking like whatsoever. So either I'm just standing in the wrong spot or don't shake. But there are a few things right outside of the station as well, some of which are Metro related, that are also pretty cool. But before we get to the mysterious thing that I'm talking about, here's some information about the station, voiced by my good friend Shortline819.
Hello everybody, my name is Shortline819 and I've hijacked Dan's video to tell you that the Rhode Island Avenue Brentwood Metro Station is located in Northeast DC. The station is elevated on a bridge over US Highway 1/Rhode Island Avenue and has the highest platform on the Metro Rail system. The station runs parallel to the CSX Metropolitan subdivision and the Metropolitan Branch Trail. The station has a single island platform with a single exit to the mezzanine. The mezzanine has 2 exits, one onto the bus bay on Rhode Island Avenue, and the other on a long pedestrian bridge to Bryant Street across the tracks. This station was built on the site of the Columbian Harmony Cemetery. During construction, it was discovered that the cemetery had not been completely relocated, and several coffins and remains were discovered. The station began service on March 27, 1976 as the original eastern terminus of the Red Line. On February 6, 1978, the Red Line was extended to Silver Spring. Back to you, Dan.
Shortline819 is a true train geek. He can recite more obscure freight train line history than I can even name freight lines. If that's your sort of thing, he's got the channel for you. It's a good lack of ticket machines, considering there's often like 3 to 5 out of order at a time. These ticket machines seem to break constantly. Here is that pedestrian walkway going over, I think it's the Metropolitan branch line. Got good access to the Metropolitan Branch Trail, which is multi-path use on the other side. Capital Bike Share right outside the station. That's always good. Ooh, what is this? So, this pedestrian walkway is down over there. It's interesting, they got it right next to this railroad going above a road. You would think it had poor connectivity, but they got all these walkways around here. It's actually not bad. That's not where you park a bike. What's with the pylon over here? That's a weird spot to have that. It's not even close to the station. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm talking about, but there's a pylon over there. There's definitely no entrance over here. Might have the parking garage. It's right there. That's the pylon. The station is up there. There's no way in hell there's a pathway. That must be the parking garage in that building. It's the only thing I can think of. So why this pylon is here, I don't know. We're not even close to the station. There's no entrance here. I could cheat and do an easy Dr. Pepper test and go to the CVS right there, but that feels too cheap. Yep, no clue why that's there. Maybe I'll do some research and see. If I figured it out, here's a cut to a clip where I explain why that pylon is there. According to this one random Twitter post that even took me a while to hunt down here, the pylon is here because this multi-use development that you'll see later in the Dr. Pepper test used to be a park and ride, and the pylon has just been there ever since. Yeah, look at this. It's like a stack. You got like the metro station and the walkway and the Metropolitan branch, and then you have Rhode Island Avenue. And then up there you have the other pedestrian walkway. It's like a 5-stacked set of bridges here. All right, we'll go up the staircase here. Up and over we go. This needs to be signed. I know where this goes, but this needs to be signed to show that this goes up to the metro station. Lots of bike racks. So there might be 2 parking garages. I'm not sure what the other one's for, because this is at the other end. That is a very busy bus station. They got lines up there going as far as, I think, damn near Laurel. So this here behind me, this is the Metropolitan branch trail. This is one of the longest and best bike paths going through not only DC, but probably the entire DMV. Wasn't aware of this, but there's a bunch of public art over here too. I'll take a quick peek. So these seem to be a set of totems by an artist, Wilfredo Valadares. There's like 10 or so of them over here. And then down on the other side here, we have another Capital Bike Share station. Looks like that was changed recently. Gotta love the fix-it stations. The only other ones of these I've seen is, I think there's one by the West Hyattsville station, and there's one by Potomac Yard. Those are nice. I hope those become more common. I don't see a pylon on this side. I literally haven't seen any other pylons other than the really out-of-place one outside of the CVS. There's a staircase going up here as well. So there's kind of 2 ways up. This way will bring you down towards Noma and downtown DC. This way brings you up towards Fort Totten. Now, to look at the other interesting piece of Metro architecture near here. And it's not ran by Metro anymore. So coming off that staircase, we come down this way. And you can see there off in the distance, a little place called Metrobar. So unfortunately, I think I'm here a bit early. I don't think it opens till 4, which means I'll probably have to come back here in a bit. Yeah, they have a bar and restaurant built into an old 5000 series Metro train. Been wanting to come here for a while, and I forgot that they don't open till 4, so I can't go in yet. All right, I'm back, just waiting for Metrobar to open. I'm a few minutes early. it's not very often the tailstock on the metro trains are visible. So in case anyone was wondering, the older train cars, this is a 5000 series train, 5058. These were plagued with all sorts of mechanical issues. They weren't kept in service very long. And one of them is now a bar off the Rhode Island Avenue station. They have the headstock obstructed. Now it's time for the Dr. Pepper test, a quick and dirty urbanism test to see how walkable an area is just by going to buy a Dr. Pepper. Alright, because of the weird placement of the pylon nowhere near the station, starting the timer at 4:23 seconds at that concrete pole right outside of the main gate. License plates, I think, is actually still going to be that CVS regardless. So the sign says CVS. I'm not seeing a CVS. I'm seeing an empty thing that's definitely not large enough to be a CVS. I think it's around the corner. There we go. Alright, ended at 4:29 and 15 seconds. They didn't have regular Dr. Pepper, so I got the cream soda one. CVS in general had kind of bare shelves, and I think that other way does have a path through, so just not opening. So there's like a weird upstairs area that matches that elevation. Alright, let's get into the rankings. For architecture, I'm just gonna say it, this station's kind of ugly. This is actually the first elevated station to open on the system, and it shows. The station is stuck between a bunch of bridges, which is kind of cool, but I wouldn't say particularly artful. It's not the worst, especially on the south side, but I really can't rank it that high. The nearby art is nice, but it's not in the station, so it doesn't help much. D tier. Access. This station is not very accessible. The station needs these long pedestrian bridges to be accessed from many areas. However, at least these bridges do help. It would be worse without them. This station is just in an awkward spot in general. The elevator is in a reasonable location though. The unlabeled staircase here is also confusing. C tier. Connections. This station is only on the Red Line. It has the high-frequency D8 and T18 bus connections connecting to Gallaudet University, Union Station, Washington Medical Center, Mount Rainier, and New Carrollton. Less frequent buses include the H8 to Petworth and Mount Pleasant, P6 to the Mall and Anacostia, 83 to Cherry Hill, 86 to Beltsville, T14 to Riverdale and New Carrollton. The bus station has pretty good bus connections, but it's not a central station by any means. It is also nearby to many other metro stations and bus routes. I honestly think for connections, it's a solid A tier. Vibe. I actually think this station has quite a nice vibe despite its industrial look. There's a lot to do in this part of DC. It's an interesting area to explore. There's a lot of nightlife, a lot of residential in the area. The Van Gogh experience is nearby. I quite like this area, but the spot to the southeast is warehouses and big box stores with a massive parking lot, so they can't all be winners. B tier. Land use. This station has seen pretty drastic improvements in its land use. It used to be parking lot central even as recently as 2008, but redevelopment in the area has actually made this area pretty good. The old surface lot is now a mixed-use zone with lots of new apartments on the west side. nearby shopping, restaurants, and even a DC DMV office, which actually don't need to be massive industrial structures for most uses. Maryland. A lot of the shopping is in this business complex at the Hellscape parking lot, but it could be a lot worse. B tier. Amenities. This is a pretty standard station. No restrooms, no services built into the station, though some amenities such as restaurants and basic shopping are very close by. C tier. Bike infrastructure. Station's such a disappointment. It could be good. It could be, and I don't think it would take a lot of improvements to make it very good. With the major exception of the Metropolitan branch trail, I actually didn't see any bike infrastructure that really stuck out. Rhode Island Avenue doesn't have any bike lanes. There's no real east-west connecting path. Nearby 4th Street has bike lanes, but that's also a north-south route. Franklin Street has bike lanes, but it's a bit far off. With the exception of the Metropolitan branch trail, bike infrastructure around here is pretty lacking. Bike parking exists, but I don't recall there being a massive amount. It was really a problem on the west side. I don't recall seeing any bike bunkers. There are 2 useful Capital bike share stations. For an urban station, it's really underwhelming and it's far from a cyclist paradise. Though there is the basic infrastructure present, and the Metropolitan branch trail is very useful to get cyclists to other areas that prove more friendly. C tier. Taking everything into account, I'm giving the Rhode Island Avenue Brentwood station a ranking of B tier. Barely. It was pretty close to a C tier, honestly. Despite the low ranking, I actually really like this station. It's one of my favorites. I think it has to do with liking this part of DC in general and liking to explore the more interesting stations, which I think this one is one of the most interesting stations in the entire system. That's all I have today. Thank you for watching. Just a reminder, I have a Discord server now. Feel free to come on and join the conversation. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to see more.